Continuing with defining the block and giving some more information to it, we have an extra element that we want to add, and the same way we added an axis that will become the center for the eye, we want to do the same for the mouth. I'm going to go to the right view here and then look through my x-ray, and Cecil's mouth is fairly high, so I'm going to just grab the whole edge for the nose. I'm going to pull it up a tiny bit so it becomes a little more precise where the base of his nose is going to be, and I'm going to grab the insert edge loop and put a loop right around his mouth. And if you look at it on the object mode, and if you get rid of the x-ray, you'll see sorry, let me just make sure I don't add an extra. So you'll see that I have added an extra line around his nose. I have one that goes around his his mouth and his nose, and one around his eyebrows. I'm sorry, his eyes, his eye sockets. I'm going to add one for the eyebrows later, but not quite yet. Okay, so here's the point where I want to clarify certain things. And those things are, one of them, identifying the shape that his mouth is going to have. So what I'm trying to do there is to think of his mouth as a loop that is going to happen around this centerpiece here. So I'm going to try to generate a loop around here. Right now my chin is not quite symmetric, and I may have to define which one is the right one. I'm going to try to get around that. I'm going to just go and correct that for a moment. So it seems that it may be that this one is a little bit okay. It's not a big deal if it is not quite there yet. I'm going to go back and fix it. Okay, going back to what I was trying to say is that I want to generate a loop around his mouth here. At the same time, this line probably will become some sort of like a cheek line, and I want to know what happens with his eyes. And I can see that very possibly the front of his face and this guy will probably become what will go through his eyes, or the center of his eye socket. So I'm going to push those guys in a little bit so that I get a little better. I'm going to move it here too, so I get a better understanding of what that is. I'm going to get this one a little bit more. And again, it's going to be mirrored, so I will probably work on that a little bit later. But for now, that is going to be something like this. Okay. Now it's time for me to give a little bit of extra definition to the neck, and because right now he is a little too straight, and I have not changed much of the horizontal guides. And what I mean by that is that the horizontal lines of his geometry has not been changed a lot, and I may need to start doing a little bit of that because he's a little too horizontal right now, you can see. So I'm going to grab some of these edges at the bottom here, and I'm going to rotate them so that, for example, this one will match a little bit better with the shape of the neck. And of course this one is going to have to rotate a little bit more so that I can get a better definition for his jaw. And the jaw, of course, will require some extra work, but for now I'm just going to grab and move some of these vertices here and get some of these guys. And you see I'm trying to match the body or the neck a little bit closer to what his drawing has. Just moving these guys up a tiny bit here. So that gives me a better transition there. It's not as dramatic. Let me try to fine tune this in the front view, because the front view is a little too thin. I'm gonna keep in mind all the time, you know, that consistency with the drawing. And actually I'm gonna just try to bring this guy up a tiny bit. You know, the drawing is a little bit dramatic, the way his jaw is and the neck being kind of like almost hidden underneath of that. So I'm gonna try to keep some of that there and maybe bring these guys up a tiny bit more. That will force some of these lines to push up a little bit with intention of generating a more even distributed geometry. Let's see how that looks. If I get out of the X-ray, you see that a little bit better. It may be a little blocky, and I'll just double check that, because I have not tweaked any of the exterior lines. As you see, yes, it's blocky, same way with the head was before, and we'll do the same thing as we did before with the upper head, which is grabbing these three elements on each corner. So I'm going to use the scale tool to scale them all together, but I'm not going to scale from the center, because if I scale from the center, I'm going to be scaling on all directions, including Y, and I don't want them to go smaller in Y. I want them to go smaller in X, which is this value, and in Z, which is this value, accomplishing more of that round shape that the neck has. A little too much, you don't want to go too far, just a little bit there, and that's good for now. Save, incremental save.